Hello, it's Paul Driscoll here, aka the Drisk. Now today I wanted to talk about the EGX exhibition at the NEC in Birmingham. Now whilst this isn't a retro gaming event, there was still plenty to enjoy for retro lovers such as myself, and the event was quite an eye-opener. And it was always nice to know that there were a good few old friendly faces going to the event as well. Now, of course, the first thing I did was rush off to the retro section and see what the Play Expo team had set up. And they'd done a great job, really, with a nice eclectic range of most of the consoles and many of the mainstay games that people will know and love. Going through all the Mario Kart iterations, such as on this aisle, was really great fun. Then moving across, we had another aisle dedicated to Star Wars games. As you can see here, it's the NES version of Star Wars, and there's the Super Empire Strikes Back, followed by Dark Forces on the PlayStation, which was a surprisingly solid version. And then if we move around here, there was the GameCube version, and finally the not so good Force Unleashed game. As well as that, there was a number of great pinball tables and lovely Coleco Visions and NESs, Master Systems, all the main games that you could pretty much shake a stick at. It was nice to see also the PC Engine making an appearance there as well. But of all the retro games, the one I kept coming back to was, of course, Xenon 2. Now, I love that. This was another one that I loved. Superstar Soldier, of course, on the PC Engine. Beautiful game. It was a shame it was only on the 2-minute competition cart. But just to show you what a great game this is, here's someone playing that same game. And look at the speed that's all beautifully running at. It really was a gem of a game. I absolutely adored. It was just played so phenomenally well. Other classics was, of course, Daytona on the Saturn, which was great, and also Wolfenstein 3D on the Atari Jaguar. Now, I've never played this version before, and it was quite impressive. Then there were other little gems like the Binatone. It was nice to sort of see some of the early systems. One of the sad things, it wasn't really arcade games, but they did have multi-carts. But moving on to the Nintendo booth, this was the second place I went to, and kitting out, they did a lovely job. Lots of focus on Mario Maker, as you'd expect. But some of the layouts here, as you can see, with a little seating area for Super Mario Maker, was absolutely wonderful. A nice little touch as well, they showed the history of Nintendo, well, cutting out Virtua Boy by the looks of it, and the handhelds. But of course you had your more modern games like Zelda Triforce Heroes on display as well. Nice other element they had was all the amiibo all on display, so you could see them all up close. It was lovely sort of seeing them all. They are really cute. They did have a competition where if you guessed how many amiibos were in this massive box, you would win them all. So that was pretty cool. But I didn't go for that because, quite frankly, I wouldn't know where I would put all these amiibos, but you have to say they looked lovely together, and those woolly Yoshis were just simply adorable. And of course they did have other games like the Star Fox Zero, which is soon to come out, and that was playable, although as you'd expect there was quite a queue. Still personally not particularly impressed with this game. It looks alright, but didn't really win me over. There was of course that Mighty Number 9, although I couldn't take videos of this. Now this was another gem of a game that I was really impressed with, called Shinen Fast Neo. It's basically coming out on the Wii U, and it's, as you can see, it's basically Wipeout or F-Zero. The gimmick is that you pick up boosts and you switch between the engine modes, a bit like Icaragua. You're changing, and that will speed you up or slow you down. I found the gimmick a little bit too much. You just didn't need that extra complexity when you're going at that speed to remember to switch for each boost. So it was a bit too many buttons, but I had to say it looks and plays phenomenally well and fast. Just I wasn't particularly good at it, but one I could learn. Now, even better was the indie section. This really was my favourite part of the show. There's Annihilation. That was a brilliant game. This was an early game, indie game that's being released, still not finished, called Mixtape. Music was phenomenal. Really got on with it. Had that flip motion. I found it a little bit difficult with the jump, a little bit fiddly, but as I say, it was nice. There's just Broforce. I've actually played the beta of that. Great fun little shooter. Then you had the odd shops. Now I nearly succumbed to the Bub and Bob teddy bears. There, unfortunately, were 20 quid each, and you couldn't have one without the other. So I decided rather than paying 40 quid, I'd leave it. Now, there's of course this other gem of a game, and that game, of course, was Raging Justice. Now, this was a really impressive game, such as the old 2D brawlers. Reminded me a lot of all the classics, and plays phenomenally well. Really, really impressed me with this. Can't wait for it to get released. Now, this was another, basically like a Descent clone. Really, really good. I was impressed with this one. Been wanting a Descent update for a long, long time, so it was great to see an indie title finally allow it, and I'll definitely be looking out for this one. Look at that, beautiful. This was another gem, kind of like a Metrovania style game. Beautiful art style. It's called a Clonoclast, I believe, and I adored this game. I thought it was so clever, full of charm, and can't wait. Being released next year. There you go. Look at that Clonoclast. Such an interesting, deep story as well. The guy who created it was telling me all about it. And then, of course, you had the big hitters that weren't indie, like Street Fighter V. Very, very impressive. To be honest, though, I don't really see what this gives beyond Street Fighter 4. But certainly looked beautiful and played like all the others, to be honest, which is a good thing, really. So, yeah, very good. Very good. Of course, one of the things I was excited for was the PlayStation VR, formerly known as Project Morpheus. And I did go to the developer talk there with the guys that have been working on it. But even better than that, really, was the demo booth. And I was lucky enough to have a go on some of these VR games. This one was beautiful. This was basically an update for Battlezone, the old Atari arcade classic, and of course playing it in VR as this guy here is playing, and works as well as you can imagine, you know, being sat down, and beautiful art style, really, really vibrant art style, and nice to see something that's not steeped in realism like some of the other demos for VR that were around. Another VR gem they were showing was Eve Valkyrie, space shooter, looks absolutely stunning. And then of course there was the Heist. Now this is probably the best example of what VR can do, although it still feels a bit like a fun fair ride. Just amazing how you could sort of pick up that phone that he's holding there. It starts, part one's an interrogation, and Of course, it comes through the headphones, so you really feel you're talking. And then, of course, the second section where you're sort of breaking in and finding this gem works so well, and lovely effects with the fireworks going on in the background, and really quite tense as you find yourself ducking to hide from the guards and what have you. Very, very clever. Now this is really quite cool. As you can see here, you're looking for a gun, so you're checking all the drawers. And of course, you're using your move controllers to control the hands. But actually, in many ways, my favourite was the kitchen, done by Capcom, a tech demo for the Morpheus or the PlayStation VR as it's now known. Now this is a horror game, and I'm not allowed to show you any video footage because they're trying to keep it under wrap, but it was kind of like the Saw with a demon woman that looked a bit like from The Ring, and it genuinely is scary. It was amazing how you felt real empathy as you were sort of like tied up, and when this demon is sort of screaming in your face and what have you. Real gem of tech demo, and certainly makes me realise that I don't want to have any horror games on virtual reality because I'm such a wimp. That tech demo definitely showed me that that was the case. It was too much. Now, of course, the other game that I got a chance for was the Shadow of the Beast remake. A lot of people will be interested in this. I had a really long session with this, so again I couldn't actually video, so I have to use a trailer. I have to say it plays really, really well, but it just did not feel at all like Shadow of the Beast. It's just a random person that looks vaguely like the character, and you're just attacking everybody. And then finally, David Braben himself was there, showing off the new Elite demo for Season 2 of their DLC called Elite Dangerous Horizons. This adds in other elements such as the planet landings and what have you. I think there was also multi-cruise. Must admit, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Everything I've seen of the Elite Dangerous looks just so amazing, and my little inner child inside me is telling me, please, please play this like you did with the original Elite. But then I think to myself, I really can't justify that much time to give over to a game like this. It's literally months of my life would disappear with that. But that's Elite Dangerous Horizons. But the best announcement for Elite Dangerous Horizons is if you pre-order the game, a bobblehead, and not just any bobblehead to put on your dashboard, but a David Braben, a Braben Commander Braben bobblehead. And the advert was hilarious. It's a silly little touch, but I think that's just awesome, being able to have David Braben on your dashboard, and away you go. And anyway guys, that was the highlights for me at the show. As I say, it was mostly with modern gaming and things, but there was still plenty to enjoy, and it was great to experience the Morpheus VR. So I hope you enjoyed, and speak to you soon. Thanks very much. Till next time, see you later.
What a crush.